Do you still have time for one interview?
Yes.
Thank you. Hannu Björkbacka from Kokkola. Nice to meet you.
Good,
Yes.
good.
Is this a good place?
Sure.
Or?
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Unless there is.
Okay. Anton, kiitos kun lämmittelit niin hyvin hänelle. Ei mitään. Varmaan ihan hyvä näin. Okei.
Just one thing about the fact that it's during the day, there is only fuel.
Okay.
And it will be
Hyvä jututettava, joo.
hyvällä tuulella.
Kiva. Joo, mahtavaa. Varmaan ei ole ehkä hyvin pystynyt nukkumaan näissä olosuhteissa.
Ei se sama, että ekana yönä nukku 3 tuntia.
Joo, Juho sanoi mulle kanssa.
Toi aurinko on aika paha.
Tulee.
Hesari. Mä oon Hesari-jakso. Kyllä.
Yes, mahtavaa. Kiva. Sitä samaa sulle ja teille.
Very good. Very good. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Would you need to have some drink or water? Or
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm from the coastal town of Finland, and this is one of your works that I haven't. Do you mind if I record this meeting?
Sure. No,
Yeah,
of course.
And it's a funny thing that because that film, there was the cinematographer, the second cinematographer was Jean-Luc Perard.
Yes.
Yeah, and I have met him at Kokkola and interviewed him because he was married to my employer bank manager's daughter for some time. So I made an interview with him. Okay.
So this
is a cube, Polaroid Cube. It's got the better sound qualities than the cheaper one. Okay. I met the director of this film, Juho Kuosmanen. I met him yesterday, and he said that maybe you had some trouble sleeping here with the light on.
Yeah, no, I have trouble sleeping anywhere.
Okay. So that's why you work all the time. Okay.
No, I sleep 3 hours, never more, and then I take something. I try not to take sleeping pills, but something like antihistamine, some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I take that, and then I work for 1 or 2 hours, and after 2 hours I hopefully fall asleep again for another few hours.
Great.
And so I have to.
That's the secret of your productivity.
I need like to be able to sleep 6 hours. I need to have 12 hours of in front of me because I divide it. Because I mix the sleep and the work.
Okay. But this is the day's last interview, so okay. I love to imagine young filmmakers like Buñuel and Dali making their first films together, and I got a little bit of the same feeling when I read Éric Rohmer's biography that's been translated, and reading about the 23-year-old BARBET SCHROEDER with Rohmer in his 30s making their first films on the streets of Paris. It's kind of a guerrilla filmmaking. But maybe your approach is still that, because you make documentaries, you make drama films, so it's like the Nouvelle Vague's guerrilla filmmaking. You make what you want.
Well, you know, I was just assistant to Éric Rohmer. He was my master, and I learned everything from him. And so we didn't do it together. I was just trying to help him, and he was exploring ways to. I mean, he was pushing to the limit the new wave of the time. And the new wave was a way to make low-cost movies without sound. That was the trick. So if you don't have sound, and if you have only the image, it's easier to shoot fast and
in the real places on the streets.
That was part of of what the new wave brought in. But then he was also very interested in sound. When he discovered the possibility, he then did My Night at Mode, which was extraordinary in sound. That was his first sound movie. And then he was also very interested in color, because we were filming in 16 black and white when we were in the street. And then he was interested in the color, and we did color 35 millimeter for La Collectionneuse. So you see, every time he was trying to explore the different possibilities, and I learned from that a lot, and that's why I ended up doing the first movie in digital in 1999. I did the first feature-length movie in digital, video digital, high definition video. This people didn't even know what was high definition video at the time. And I did Our Lady of the Assassin in Medellin, Colombia. This was the very first movie done with that technique that now is used by 90%, 99% of the movies are done with in digital.
I read also that the last film, your drama film, last film that I saw at Helsinki last year at the Lavananaki Festival with the Amnesia, and I read that it was made in 6K, and I didn't even know that there is such thing as a 6K. Is that you have embraced the digital technology because of your experiences with the filming without the sound in the 60s?
Yes, no, it's just no. That has nothing to do with sound. It's just that I'm always exploring what is new and how can we use it. And the 6K was not to have 6K screened in the theaters, but to be able to cut into, like, if I do a wide shot of you, including that, and then I need a close-up of you. If I have 6K, if I do a close-up of you, it will be 4K or 3K or but it will be still valid to be screened on movie.
So it's a different kind
I
of
can do some editing within the movie.
It's
That's something that was impossible before.
So from the big picture, you can just take one element and put it.
Or you can take half, or I can have a scene between you and somebody next to you, and I make takes, and in one take you are fantastic, the other one is no good, and in another take this guy is fantastic, but you're no good. Then I can take the good take of you, the good take of him, and glue the two together, and I have the perfect take. Things like that was not possible before.
It's thoroughly new kind of making and editing with it. So you're not nostalgic about the film texture. You think you can achieve the same kind of presentation?
I'm nostalgic, but I like to explore.
And take what is at hand. Okay. So the Amnesia and the Le Vénérable
W.
That's been shown on Finnish TV, and I think it's still available there.
The Venerable is showing on Finnish
about
TV?
about the monk.
Really?
On
showing
TV.
on
On TV, yes. And I think because the state television has also the kind of thing that it's available afterwards also to see. I think it's still there. So that's very interesting that I have seen some of your newest films.
Who see it on a good quality screen, because this movie, as far as sound and image, was made to be experienced into a theater. This was actually a dramatic movie a documentary for theater, the same as Amin Dada, same as this one. This one was for theater also, and there was a lot of construction and there was a lot of work. For example, the editing of the Venerable W was 9 months. 9 months in the editing. For television, you don't do that kind of editing, And this one was more than 6 months. And normally a television, even if it's a little over 2 hours, is 6 weeks or 8 weeks. It's not 6 months or 9 months.
Okay. So you think cinematically, even in your documentaries, even if you have made TV work also, but you're interested in cinematic?
I just did fiction. I didn't do documentaries for TV. I never do.
Okay. So you come from documentary to drama film. We can see your productivity variation between those, and you've been producing, you've been acting and directing.
Acting is a
side job.
It's just for friends and just for fun, and I never received any money to be acting. So it's not a thing. And producing is always producing I mean, at the very beginning, I was assistant to Éric Rohmer,
Yeah.
so it was like part of my apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So you could call that producing, but
Yeah.
it was part of the... And then after that, when I was producing my own movies.
Yeah.
So basically, you know, I'm just a director.
Okay. But you want to make all kinds of work within the film and all kinds of films. Is it because you get bored easily, or is that your worldview that you want to explore different things and not all the same?
Well, you know, I'm different. I'm exploring different theme in different countries and different realities, and
Yeah.
I like to involve myself completely every time, and it's every time a new adventure.
Yeah. So, do you think that this cosmopolitan thing that you work here and there, is it from your upbringing? Maybe you were born in Tehran, lived in Africa and Colombia. Is that also that you don't want to settle down?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Definitely, it has something to do with that. Yeah, that I can feel at home in many places.
Yeah, and many kinds of filmmaking, because of course one thing that with a little smaller films you have more freedom than when you make a big film with Jeremy Irons in America, or is it so?
I would say that I had a lot of freedom doing big films.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't... the freedom is in yourself and with the project that you choose, and if you choose a project that you know you will be free to do, you have a lot of freedom.
Yeah. So take it. Okay, in Amnesia there was this beautiful platonic relationship with an older woman and a young man, darkened by the long shadow of Germany's Nazi past. And you filmed in your mother's old house in Ibiza.
Which was the house where I had filmed more.
More also, yeah. And Mata Keller's character had some similarities with your mother. Do you always want to work from a personal point of view in all your films and
Not
carry that?
Personal, I'm not sure, but something that is true, something that some extreme behavior that is true. And you know, when I have one in my own life, somebody refusing to speak German after the war, that's something that is a very extreme attitude, and I was it concerned me completely because I don't speak my mother's tongue, because she never spoke German to me, and she is German. So she went from Berlin to Switzerland in 1936 when she was 16. So when I meet someone who is bringing with him a group of 10 people to discover an island that he has added on the map, that was somebody that I actually met and that I studied, tried to understand what he was doing, and it became the story of the Valley, my second film, where there is a guy that has added on the map a valley that is supposed to be paradise, and that's, once you get there you never come back. And that was the idea of the island of the guy. So that was something that I met in real life, somebody that was leading a group of people like that to paradise, supposedly. Actually, it may be death. So that's what I'm interested in. I met also somebody that was a gambler that was gambling so much that he needed to cheat to go on gambling, and that he was losing everything he was gambling, because that was what he wanted ultimately, was to lose. So, which is, every gambler always end up like that. It's part of the disease. All those people, all those situations were real life situations that I used for fiction.
And then the the thing that you made this trilogy of evil, and you get yourself and your films into extreme situations with extreme people. What is the philosophy on that? Is that something like your worldview that you want to explore, to understand the people who are?
I try to understand the phenomenon of evil, so this is very strange, because you see people that are supposed to be despicable, monstrous. Then you see that at first sight they're not exactly that, and that in your life before you have met people that are absolute monsters, but you don't know.
True.
So you learn to understand that. Yeah. That's an important thing.
Yeah, of course. Even Idi Amin Dada has had children and was loved by.
Exactly.
Okay. And aside from your documentaries, you worked with many great actors and actresses in your films. Boulogier, Matt Keller, Jeremy Irons, won an Oscar, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. And when you're married with one of the greatest international art film stars, do you give advice to each other about your films? Are you each other's critics, or is it good that you have the same profession?
We try not to. No.
Okay.
No, we try not to.
Yeah. But you follow each other's careers, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Single White Female in '92 was a big hit because it was also in Finland a very well-known film, and with the name Nuori Naimaton Nainen.
Which is what?
It's a young single female. So it's a bit the same.
That's good. Not the white.
No.
Single young female. But then
single white female.
Then it becomes like a sexual ad.
Yeah.
That's why I kept the white, which was I was very shocked of the title, because the white was no good in America.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was exactly what the ad would do SWF. It was because it was a code name for a roommate. It was not for sexual.
So it's a bit different.
And that's why in France they said young woman looking for an apartment. That was
more about the story.
That was more of the story, but it was very long.
Okay. As I remember it was about some kind of a double identity. Were you thinking about films like Hitchcock, Vertigo, or Bergman's persona in the structure of that film?
Yes, very much so. And but it was very often young women when they are not completely formed, or let's say girls that are becoming women. Before becoming women, they have to find their identity, and at one point they decide that another girl that they admire is their identity.
The model.
And this is very, very common. It happens all the time, and you can see it around you all the time. It's very, very common. And so I knew that I had a terrain that was very good to begin with, to start a dramatic story. Was very good, because it was something that was psychologically very true.
Is it a bit kind of same thing that, of course, we take mannerisms from films and film stars that we want to emulate?
Exactly.
So that's maybe in a bit more bigger way.
Exactly.
And this was about the documents. Okay, you mentioned the More film. Unfortunately, I don't remember if I have seen that, but of course I know that you used Pink Floyd's music in it. What's the relationship of the music in your films and documentaries? Do you want to use ready-made records or composed music? The sound and music, what is the purpose?
I did the Barfly was done with 100 different musics, all existing. There was not a score for Barfly. For some documentaries, like this one, and The Venerable, we have music composed like it was a fiction film. Like in this one, we have a theme for his wife, who was a terrorist that put actually bombs in cafes with European men, women, and children. So this was the beginning of, and she's an extraordinary woman. She happens to be an extraordinary woman, the woman that he married. So I have a theme in it that every time she comes back, every time she wouldn't accept to be filmed. So every time she comes back, anybody talks about her, we have the theme that's playing. So see, this is using music like
in a fiction.
Like in a fiction.
And
now I did that with the Venerable also. This was composed music that was giving you some feeling from the music, and
so it depends on the subject matter and the kind of film you are making. Okay. So yesterday I was at Olof Möller's masterclass about the Thorold Dickinson film, The Arsenal Stadium Mystery, and Möller said that he doesn't really, he is not really interested in people who make the same movie every time. He's interested in filmmakers who always try different things. Maybe you are the same kind of filmmaker that Thorold Dickinson.
You can say that, yeah.
Okay, good. And I was thinking when you mentioned that in Barfly you used ready-made records, and it reminded me of Olivier Assayas's style. So are there filmmakers nowadays that you think are keeping the cinematic thing alive, of the contemporary filmmakers?
Listen, I don't know, because when I make a movie, I stop looking at movies, and I had periods in my life where I didn't see any movie. Like Amnesia took me 4 years. With Amnesia and The Venerable were put back to back, and I think that it took 4 years to those two movies. And just in those 4 years, I didn't see any movie. For example.
You're like a musician. You don't want to eat other people's music when you compose.
No, I just don't. I don't know. So then I started making scene movies recently again, because I had more time. And I thought that Paul Thomas Anderson is an absolute genius. And his last movie, The Phantom Thread, is a masterpiece.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
That I would say definitely, he's definitely a master.
Okay. How about outside films, literature, music? Has that meant a lot to your creativity?
Yes. Of course, there are many young writers that are emerging that are very exciting. And
follow other people's work, even if you're working.
Barely.
Okay. Thank you very much of your time, and I hope you have a happy festival here. And it's great to have you here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So now you.